Senate Leader. Point of order, Senator Danjumala.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished honors, I am Senator Danjumala, represent Kaduna South. The point of order is the matter to be discussed shall, if possible, be referred.
Which order is that, please? Okay.
The Senate before commencement of the day sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied, and the matter is definitely an urgent. Mr. President, this is a request. I spoke with you yesterday in respect of our urgent killings in Zango Katab.
Distinguished, if you are coming under Order 42, it means we will have to take it in September. You have to come under 42 and 52 if you want it today. Otherwise, you have to take it in September.
52, Order 52 now. Notice shall be dispensed with the case of the motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President?
It's okay now, you it should roll for you. Wait for him.
Okay. Distinguished colleagues, Senator Danjumala, Kaduna South, has come under our orders 42 and 52, seeking to be given the endorsement to present his motion, and he has given the synopsis of the motion about the killings in his senatorial district. Those in favor of his request say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, an urgent need for the declaration of emergency over the security situation in Zango Katab, area of Southern Kaduna, Senatorial District of Kaduna State. My President, my distinguished colleagues, the Senate notes that since 2011, various communities in Southern Kaduna, Senatorial District of Kaduna State, have been consistently attacked by the headsmen, resulting in deaths, injuries, loss of properties, and displacement of the communities. This attack continued through 2016 to 2018 and abated in 2019. However, from June to December 2020, another wave of the attacks resumed in various communities of a chiefdom in Zango Katab local government area. During this wave of attacks, Boragan, Takanai, Kyugudu, Sabon Kaura, Chibok, Mazaki, Obuya, Angwan Wikili, Kakao, Angwan Tobo, and several villages around the periphery of Zango Katab. Semi-urban were attacked, many people killed, settlement and houses razed, farm products destroyed, houses, whole properties, and other valuable livestock, food, stuff, etc. also destroyed. Further note that another round of attacks has erupted since last week and 8 July 2021, just about the same period the attacks of 2020 were launched. This time, the attacks are directed at all communities in the chiefdom, with spontaneous raid all over the villages that make up the chiefdom in Zangokato, local government area of Kaduna State. Senate may note also that specifically, as at Tuesday, 12 July 2021, several villages including Bora, Wakan, Takanai, Ongwan, Bohoro, Makauro, Kachachere, Fiziai, Magamia, Manchong, Magata, Kakao, Matiai, Jankasa, Makwahu, and several neighboring villages have been surrounded, attacked by armed gunmen. Several families and homes have been wiped out, with all family members killed, especially in PG. Aware also that there is a general atmosphere of insecurity in Kaduna South Senatorial District of Kaduna State. At the moment, and local inhabitants cannot access their farms holding for cultivation to support food security and national development. Further note that some time past there was a resolution to set up the military battalion and base in the radius of 20 kilometers away from Kavachan, and this resolution has since been made good. The military base should be made to live up to its responsibility. Furthermore, that militants attacking and killing people in the chiefdom have been identified, including people wearing military uniforms and camouflage. Resolving to observe a minute silence for the respect of the souls of the deceased government area in southern Kaduna Senatorial District. Call on the federal government to set up a military strike force in the Zangokato local government area of Kaduna State as an interim measure to protect natives and others from invading attacks by armed headsmen. Urge the security agencies to identify efforts to apprehend and bring to justice all persons involved in this attack. Call on the federal government to set up internally displaced person IDP camps in Zangokato local government to cater for all who have been displaced by this attack. The federal government to intensify effort too to request FEMA to provide food and relief materials for the people grounded in the IDP camps for now. Kindly see to this problem that we are facing, all our people are left homeless. So,
Distinguished Senator Obasani.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, Senator Obasani representing Kaduna Central. I will first second the motion ably moved by distinguished colleague Senator Danju Malan. Then I will proceed to make my own comments. But I will start first by also drawing the attention to the Senate that the issue of insecurity in Kaduna is an issue that is been in the public knowledge at the moment, but I've listened to the prayers by my own distinguished colleague. But I want to say here that Kaduna State Governor have already done most of the things my distinguished colleagues have suggested in his own prayers. Number one, the governor in the last 2 or 3 weeks have been talking with the security agencies in Nigeria, particularly the Nigerian army, and as we are talking, about 2,000 security personnel have been deployed to Kaduna only last week because of the request made by the governor of Kaduna State, Governor Nasur Ahmed Erifai, We have been experiencing issue of kidnappings and issue of banditry in Kaduna, so not only in Zangon Katap, but areas like Chukun, Kajuru local government. And like we're all aware, we have moved a lot of motions here on the floor of the Senate calling on the security to be very, very active and try to protect the lives and properties of our own people. All I can say here is that so far the Senate have taken very funding support for the military and the security apparatus in this country. And because of that, I have no doubt in my mind, with the effort so far made by Kaduna State Governor, we will certainly solve the issue or resolve the problem of insecurity in Kaduna State. I sympathize with our people because despite the effort being made by the governor, and of course, all of us who are leaders from Kaduna State, we usually have quarterly meetings, including the Sungu Senator Lanjumala, myself, the Sungu Senator Abdukari, and all elected members in the National Assembly. And we are working closely with the Kaduna State Governor and the security agencies in this country to resolve this problem of insecurity in Kaduna State. Mr. President, I also support agencies in this country, despite the fact that the governor is doing everything humanly possible to resolve this issue. And I would like to seize this opportunity to commend our governor, Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, for the step he has taken so far.
Prayer 1, observe a minute silence for the reports of the souls of the deceased victims of the attacks. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against any say aye. Prayer 2, call on the federal government to declare a security emergency in Zangon Kataf local government, Kaduna Southern Senatorial District. In the Zangon Kataf local government area of Kaduna State as an interim measure to protect Atiab natives and others from invading attacks by armed herdsmen. Those who know this prayer say aye. Those against any say aye. Prayer 4, urge the security agencies to intensify efforts to apprehend and bring to justice all persons involved in these attacks. Those in favor will say aye. Those against any say aye. Prayer 5, call on the federal government to set up internally displaced persons camps in Zangun Kataf local government area to cater for all who have been displaced by these attacks. Those who heard this prayer say aye. Those against any say aye. And prayer 6, the federal government to intensify efforts to request FEMA to provide food. No, it's supposed to be intervention. The federal government to intensify efforts to request NEMA to provide food and relief materials for the people crowding in the IDP camps for now. On one hand, you are saying government should set up an IDP camp. Now you say there is a camp. So there is a camp already. Okay. The federal government to intensify efforts to request NEMA to provide food and relief materials for the people crowding in the IDP camps for now. Sorry, observe a minute silence, please. May the souls of our departed compatriots rest in perfect peace. Amen. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Navy and Marine Transport on the Nigerian Maritime Zones Act, Repeal and Re-Enactment Bill 2021 for the Senate to receive the report.
Distinguished Senator Michael Opemi Bamidele.
Your Excellency, the President and
most distinguished and respected members. I am Michael Okwemi Bamidele. I represent Ekiti Central Senatorial District. I rise to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, the Committee on Navy, and the Committee on Marine Transport on the Nigerian Maritime Zones Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021 SB 49 to be laid. Mr. President, I so move.
The Senator Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff. I represent Plenary Northwest. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Senator Bamidele. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive the report of the Joint Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Navy and Marine Transport on the Nigerian Maritime Zones Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may lead the report, please. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts on the 2018 to 2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan number 1. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Clifford Odia to move the motion for this distinguished Senate to receive and consider the report of the committee.
Distinguished Senator Clifford Odia.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my very colleagues. I'm Senator Clifford Odia. I represent Edo Central Senatorial District. I rise to move the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Local and Foreign Debt on the 2018-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan number 1. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Bima Mohamed Enagi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my highly respected distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Bima Mohamed Enagi. I represent the people of Niger South from Niger State. I rise to second the motion that the Senate receives and considers the report of the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts in respect of the Federal Government External Borrowing Plan 2018-2020. I so second.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts on the 2018-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan number 1, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may lead the report, please.
Chairman, please, you may present the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On the proposed 2018-2020 external borrowing plan number 1. The background. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on Tuesday, the 1st of June 2021, considered the request from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria requesting for approval of the federal government 2018-2020 external borrowing plan. The communication, together with the attached schedule, was referred to the Committee on Local and Foreign Debt for further legislative action. The request of Mr. President is in compliance with the provision of the Debt Management Office Establishment Act 2003 DMO and the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 FRA, which both enjoy the President to seek and obtain the approval of the National Assembly in respect of the external borrowing program of the Federation and the states. The provision of the above statutes, together with the revised guideline for external and domestic borrowing issued by the DMO, pursuant to its power under the DMO Act, require that all tiers of government of the Federation shall borrow only on the following conditions. 1. Shall specify the purpose for which the borrowing is intended, which shall only be for long-term capital expenditure and human capital development. 2. Such borrowing shall be on concessional terms with low interest rates and with a reasonably long amortization period. 3. Shall present a cost-benefit analysis detailing the economic and social benefits of the purpose for which the intended borrowing will be applied. 4. Shall provide satisfactory proof of the existence of prior authorization in the appropriation law for the purpose for which the borrowing is to be utilized. 5. Such borrowing shall have the approval of the relevant Executive Council. 6. Such borrowing shall be approved by resolution of the relevant Legislative Assembly. 7. Such external borrowing shall be executed for and on behalf of the federal government by the Minister of Finance or any other person the Minister may designate in writing. Financial institutions and development agencies are required by the above statutes to request and obtain proof of compliance with the provision of Part 6 of the Federal Responsibility Act, Fiscal Responsibility Act, before lending to any government in the Federation. The Act provides that failure to do so is an offense and may render the facility unlawful, thus unenforceable among other sanctions. 2. Mandate of the committee. The committee has the mandate of the Senate to consider the above request and make appropriate recommendation for consideration and approval of the Senate at plenary. Methodology. The task before the committee was to undertake a thorough and detailed consideration of each and every project together with the proposed terms and conditions attached to the borrowing from the development agency provided the fund in order to ensure that a genuine need to borrow and an ability to repay is established. Due to the enormity of the task and the need for careful consideration and appraisal of the various projects and the intended financial accommodation sought, the committee decided to adopt a phased approach to the consideration. The committee held interactive sessions and received written presentation from the following federal ministries, departments and agencies, and the government of Edo State, Ondo, who were all invited to appear before it during the interactive session for briefing and to deal with questions and provide details. 1. Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. 2. Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. 3. Federal Ministry of Transportation. 4. Federal Ministry of Power Resources. 5. Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. 6. Federal Ministry of Aviation. 7. Federal Ministry of Interior. 8. Transmission Company of Nigeria. 9. National University Commission. 10. National Identity Management Commission. 11. Northeast Development Commission. 12, Debt Management Office. 13, Government of Edo State. 14, Government of Ondo State. And 15, Government of Ogun State. 4, reference to working documents. The following reference to working documents were relied upon by the committee in the course of its assignment. A, communication from Mr. President together with attached schedule. B, Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. C, Debt Management Office 2003. 4, revised 2012 external and domestic borrowing guidelines for federal and state government and their agencies issued by DMO. E, document presented by the various stakeholders. 5, committee findings and observations. 1, the committee knows with utmost importance the genuine and very serious concern of Nigerians about the level and sustainability to serviceability of our borrowing activities in the last decade. 2, committee further knows that our debt service figures constitute a huge drain on our revenue to the extent that it can account for over 30% of our expenditure in the annual budget. 3, the committee knows that due to the shortfall in our annual revenue in relation to our need and rapid infrastructure and human capital development, we have to pass deficit budget every year, requiring us to borrow to finance deficit in our budget. 4, the committee knows that out of the total borrowing request of 36 billion 837 million 281,256 dollars contained in the forwarded request of Mr. President, a sum of 26 billion 154,000 million 536,533 dollars is for funds proposed to be borrowed from various financial institutions for the People's Republic of China. 5, the committee knows that there are proposed projects in the Ministry of Transportation, FCT, Aviation, Works and Housing, Agriculture and Water Resources, and some commissions such as National University Commission, Northeast Development Commission, and the National Identity Management Commission are mostly on. 6, these projects have a multiplier effect on stimulating economic growth through infrastructural development, job creation, and poverty alleviation, stimulation of commercial and engineering activities, and the consequent tax revenues payable to the government as a result of these productive activities. Works and Housing. Federal Ministry of Works. 1, construction of Lafia Bypass Road and the dualization of 9th Mile, Enugu, Otukpo, Makurdi Road Project, Kefi Phase 1, at a cost of $845.7 billion and to be funded by China Exim Bank. 2, construction of Akwanga, Jos, Bauchi, Gombe Carriageway Project at a cost of $1.33 billion to be financed by China Exim Bank. The total for the Federal Ministry of Works is $2,178,753,419 US. The committee found that the China Exim Bank has expressed its willingness to support Nigeria by providing funds for the construction of critical road infrastructure in line with our desire to promote the real sectors of the economy and facilitate efficient movement of goods and persons around the country. B, the committee knows that the various other road projects across the various geopolitical zones of the country are simultaneously undergoing critical rehabilitation and or reconstruction. Transportation sector, Federal Ministry of Transportation. The projects under that is 1, Port Harcourt to Maiduguri with branches to Yola and Damaturu rail lines. Total distance of 1,408 kilometers. The amount allocated to be borrowed is $2.48 billion and to be funded by Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Second one is Kano Maradi SGRO with branch to Duse at a cost of $1.959 billion to be funded by European ECA. The committee found out that these projects are in line with National Infrastructure Master Plan and the 25-year strategic vision for the development of the Nigeria Railway 2002. B. The committee found that China Exim Bank has previously extended loans for phases of some of these railway infrastructure projects across the nation. 9. Aviation sector. Federal Ministry of Aviation. 1. The projects that they want to carry out are 1. 4 airport terminal expansion project phase 2 at a cost of $208.9 million to be funded by China Exim Bank. 2. Accelerated works on 4 airports expansion projects at a cost of $183.6 million to be financed by China Exim Bank. The total other aviation is $392.5 million. The committee found that the projects are intended to meet the increasing demands of the nation's air transportation and full rehabilitation and realization of the functioning of the 4 international airports. B. The committee knows that the implementation of the works on the airport will improve the development of the aviation industry in the country and improve the socio-economic development of the country. Federal Capital Territory. Ministry of Federal Capital Territory. The project under that heading is supply of rolling stock and depot equipment for Abuja Light Rail Project. The cost is $157 million to be funded by China Exim Bank. The committee knows that the provision of a rail system for the Federal Capital Territory is crucial for sustainable integration of the political, social, and economic activities within the satellite towns and the Federal Capital City. 2. B. The committee knows that the completion of the project and the deployment of the rolling stock and the equipment will provide cheaper, efficient, and safe transportation system and ease of movement of residents of the Federal Capital Territory. Education sector. 1. Under the education sector, we have 3 items that are to be funded. 1 is Second Africa Higher Education Center of Excellence for Development Impact Project. Second AC Impact. The cost is $75 million to be funded by World Bank. The Second Africa Higher Education Center Excellence for Development Impact. Second AC Impact.
Chairman, which page are you? No, please, you don't have to go through all these documents now. Go to recommendations, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Page 11. That the Senate do approve the underlisted ongoing negotiation of the external borrowing in the sum of $8,325,526,537 and 490 million euro under the 2018-2020 external borrowing rolling plan. The funding agencies are well detailed. They are from World Bank, China Exim Bank, Industrial Commercial Bank of China, African Development Bank, African Going Together Fund, French Development Agency, European Investment Bank, European ECA Agency, and International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFDA, totaling $526,537 US and 490 million euro. The detailed schedules are also attached, numbered from A to I. The terms and conditions of the loan from the funding agencies to be forwarded to National Assembly prior to the execution of same for concurrence and proper documentation. Conclusion. The committee wishes to place on record that the above recommended approved projects amounting to 8.35 billion and 490 million euro are projects in respect of which the committee has concluded its legislative due diligence. B. The committee knows that there are various other projects contained in the request of Mr. President which have not been listed in this batch of the report and are being processed by the committee. C. Committees say that in respect of this outstanding request, interactions, considerations, and discussions are ongoing with the respective implementing ministries, departments, and agencies, and the committee recommendation will be laid before the Senate as will be done contained in subsequent reports. The committee wishes to sincerely express its appreciation to the Senate leadership for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, we go to the recommendations. And there are two recommendations only. That, yes, observation. Senator Sam Ebu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sam Ebu. Mr. President, I have an observation on page 6 with regards to aviation sector. Mr. President, wide locations of these projects are mentioned in many sectors. With regards to aviation, they just said 4 international terminal expansion projects without mentioning the particular airports. In every other area, they mention location of those the particular airports. That's my observation, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The comments are noted because I'm sure they have the list. Maybe the committee should have sought that. Distinguished colleagues, let's start with the recommendation 1, that the Senate do approve the underlisted ongoing negotiation of external borrowing in the sum of $8,325,526,537 only under the 20 and 490 million euro under the 2018-2020 external borrowing rolling plan. And the details are World Bank $796 million and $9, Industrial Commercial Bank of China $2,484,555,304 US, Africa Development Bank $104,200,000 US, Africa Growing Together Fund $20 million, French Development Agency 240 million euro, European Investment Bank 250 million euro, European ECA dollars, International Fund for Agriculture Development IFAD $60 million, grand total $8,325,526,537 million US, 490 million euro. Be approved, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 2 on page 13, that's the last page, that the terms and conditions of the loan from the funding agencies be forwarded to the National Assembly prior to the execution of same for concurrence and proper documentation. Those in favor of this recommendation, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the Conference Committee report of the Petroleum Industry Bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the Senate and the House passed different versions of the bill of the Petroleum Industry Bill 2021. The conference committee of both houses have met and harmonized the differences in accordance with Senate Standing Order number 88. Mr. President, with your permission, I wish to move a motion for the Senate to consider to receive.
You may proceed.
Point of order, Mr. President. Point of order, Mr. President.
Point of order, Senator Siraki Dixon.
Is founded on Order 15. Let me make it clear firstly, Mr. President.
No, just I want to confirm something. Is it on this report? Allow him to present the report, then I can take your point of order. Because he has not presented the report, so we don't even know what is.
Out before we take the consideration, firstly, that at this point in time, following our legislative processes, we are not re-arguing or re-debating the PIB bill. I'm aware of that, and I'm not inviting the Senate to do so. I'm not. I just want to bring to the attention the fact that we are aware of what has gone on in this bill, and to bring to your notice how the people who are producing the resources we are talking about feel about. So let me report myself to you that on the day we concluded work on this bill, on that day, some of us disagreed with the processes, some of us disagreed with the conclusions, and some of us quietly took our leave of the chamber. And we are monitoring developments, we have challenges we are managing back home, people misunderstand the roles that have been played. Now, today, we are here to discuss the conference report. Mr. President, you know that some of us have reached out to all opinion leaders explaining the challenges. We thank this National Assembly, and Mr. President, you were back.
Distinguished Senator Siraki Dixon, you have raised point of privilege. So what is the privilege that has been infracted?
Can you?
Or breached?
Point of order, sir.
Senator Siraki Dixon, you know I've given you more than 2 minutes now. You raise point of order on privilege. You are privileged either as an individual senator or a group of us you think have been breached. So it is for you within those minutes I've given you to show how your privilege has been breached. And I think we don't need to go into a long distance explanation on what happened. We all knew we voted on this thing, there was debate, there was voting. But of course, I thought when you raise matter of privilege, you listen. Immediately somebody raises it, you have to listen to. So I will give you 1 minute to round it up, please.
The privilege I'm raising is to put it on record, Mr. President, that our view, some of us, the contributions we wanted to make on this issue could not be accommodated or were not accommodated. Now, on that day, as I said, some of us quietly left the chamber. Even when we had the dinner, some of us, when we got the conference report, we had a terrible evening, couldn't even stay for the president's dinner. And Mr. President, I and a few of us will be unable to stay here and be part of this discussion because it is unconscionable. We disagree with.
Okay, now I've taken distinguished Senator Siraki Dixon. I have listened to your point of order. You may sit down, please. I have listened to your point of order, and I want to remind all of us here that when the Senate takes a resolution, it becomes the resolution of the Senate. Sometimes it goes our way in a favorable way. Sometimes it goes against us. It's not exactly what we want. But I want to appeal to us. If you don't get it your way today, you may get it to your way tomorrow. So I will appeal to all of us that please, when the Senate takes a resolution, no matter how uncomfortable it is the resolution of the Senate. And at this point, we are not going to be debating what happened before. Our people, the people we represent here, definitely sometimes will not understand the kind of role we have played. I am sensitive to all these things, and I want to urge you, and if there is any other distinguished senator who is thinking the same way, that this is the way democracy works. And I will appeal to you not to live like you did before, because there are other things that you need to participate. And for me, I think you should make a political capital out of that thing that you didn't get. Tomorrow, you could approach your colleagues and say, the other time you didn't support me on this. Please support me on this. But if you walk away, it's like you have lost it, because you cannot relate with your colleagues. So I appeal to all of us that we have to go forward. We are finished with this, and we take the report of our committee. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to receive and consider the report of Petroleum Industry Bill as provided by the Conference Committee between the House and the Senate Conference Committee. I so move.
The minority leader is not here today. No. He looks Texan. Minority. Oh, okay. Senator Barbe, the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sometimes we have to also appear corporate so that they know that we still have distance. I so second, Mr. President.
No, sorry, before I put the question, I saw you with a khaki and some kind of boot, like looking Texan boots. So I didn't recognize the minority leader that I know. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of our conference committee, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate, please lay the report. Leader, you may present the report.
For an act to provide legal governance, regulatory and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry, and the development constituted at plenary on Tuesday, 6 July 2021, with a mandate to harmonize areas of differences in the petroleum industry bill as passed by both the Senate and the House of Representatives. The paragraph 2 shows the composition of the committee in the Senate and the composition in the House of Representatives. We carry out this work over a period of 2 days, and 9, 29, 32, 33, 41, 47, 48, 52, 64, 79, 86, 94, 104, 125, 160, 240, 310, 315, 317, and 318, and the first schedule. During the technical sessions that we have, the committee, after exhaustive and intractable deliberations, adopted 93, 94, 95, 29, 32RR, 33U, 33Y, 40 section 4E, 52 subsection 5, 52 subsection 5B, 52 subsection 7, 52 subsection 7B, 52 subsection 7C, 52 subsection 7D, 52 subsection 12, 52 subsection 14, 52 subsection 14A, 52 subsection 14B, 52 subsection 14C, 52 subsection 14D, 52 subsection 14E, 52 subsection 15, 52 subsection 16, 52 subsection 17, 79 subsection 7, 79 subsection 8, 86 subsection 2, 104 subsection 4, 125 subsection 1, 160 subsection 2, 240 subsection 2, 2310 subsection 4, 317 subsection 8, 1, 318 and the first schedule as clauses as passed in the Senate version of the bill. 64 subsection C, section B are clauses that were passed on the differences as captured by the House of Representatives. Our recommendation, after the application of the differences in the bill as passed by the Conference Committee, we hereby recommend that the Senate and the House of Representatives do approve the above recommendations of its Conference Committee on a bill for an act to provide legal, governance, regulatory and fiscal framework for the Nigerian petroleum industry and the development of host communities and for related matters 2021. Distinguished colleagues, this distinguished chamber for giving us to serve in this capacity. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much, my colleagues.
Any comments? We'll go to the recommendation. Comment. Distinguished Senator George Thompson.
Mr. Senior President, my distinguished colleagues, I'm aware of it. I'm also aware of Order 25H. I'm also aware of it. So I don't want to take your time. I appreciate the Conference Committee report except one. The only point I don't really agree, as maybe a minority but express my opinion, is the 3%, 5% for the host communities. As a senator representing the Rivers East Central District, I want to say that I am not part of that vote.
You are not what? As by clause, I'm simply going to put the question on the entire report. And of course, you are at liberty to abstain, not to support the nays, not to support the ayes. This one is your
neck on the line. Thank you very much.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate do approve the Conference Committee report on the Petroleum Industry Bill 2021, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. Point of order, Senator Matthew Urogide.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I am Senator Matthew Urogide. I represent the good people of Edo South Central District.
What is the point of order? Which order? I will refer you to page to order 39, arrangements of business. Just go to page 27. Business order 43 is supposed to come under personal explanation. That is item 9. We are past item 9. We are now in item 10, order of the day. So I rule you out of order.
My highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on INEC on the screening of Sani Muhammad Adam San for appointment as Commissioner representing North Central in the Independent National Electoral Commission. Mr. President, may we wish to invite distinguished Senator Kabiru Gaya, Chairman of the Committee on INEC, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Kabiru Gaya. Point of order, Senator Patrick Ifeanyi.
Mr. President, it pains me.
No, which order? Which order, please? Order what? Order 43. Distinguished. I have taken, but go ahead and read order 43. Let me listen. It says personal explanation. That is why I want you to read. And then go to page 27 of our standing orders and read order 39.
Mr. President, what I want to make is a personal explanation. I am a member.
Distinguished, we are governed by our standing orders here. At this point, come before the order of the day starts. We are already deep in the order of the day. We are past the personal explanation. That is our standing order. It's not me. That's what we have accepted. And you can look at your standing order. You have the book there with you. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate. Oh, regard the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. South from Kano State. Mr. President, with your permission, I would like to move the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the confirmation and nomination of Professor Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, from North Central for appointment as Commissioner for Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. I so move, Mr. President.
I need someone to second it. Senator Dalladi Sankara, Dallateringim.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, to second that the Senate do receive and consider the report on the Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the confirmation of the nomination of Sani Mohammed Adam, SAN, SAN, North Central for appointment as Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the confirmation of the nomination of Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, North Central, for appointment as Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may read the report, please, Chairman. Chairman, you present the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, for confirmation of appointment as National Electoral Commissioner of Independent National Electoral Commission. Consider the report of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the confirmation of nomination for appointment as National Commissioner for the Independent National Electoral Commission, one for further legislative action. The confirmation of the nomination for the appointment of Professor Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior of the Constitution, first amended, which requires that the appointment of chairman and members of any of the bodies so established under Section 153, for the avoidance of doubt, the Section 1541 provides as follows: escaped members of any of the bodies so established shall, subject to provision of this Constitution, be appointed by the President. The nominee, as normal as usual, appeared again in presence of us. Last time we stepped down for confirmation of the nominee because we are expecting some few documents set and deliberated as follows. The committee interviewed Professor Sani Mohammed Adams again and received explanatory regarding his personal life, work experience, stability, competence, and integrity for appointment as National Electoral Commission against the nominee, the committee found out that the petition against this was faulty and that the reason for the termination, not dismissal as alleged by the petitioner, was not based on gross misconduct, but on rationalization policy of the federal government, of which it was rationalized. The court judgment was based on whether or not his appointment shall have been terminated, and this has nothing to do with his integrity or moral uprightness. So, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, in view of the outcome of the investigation into the petition against the nominee, as indicated in paragraph 4.1 above, the committee hereby recommends that Professor Sani Mohammed Adam, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the members of the committee, I wish most sincerely thank the President of the Senate, principal officers, and indeed distinguished members of this Senate for giving the Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the opportunity to serve in this regard.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to move into committee, to resolve into committee of the whole to consider this report.
Aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for appointment as a Commissioner representing North Central? Those in favor will say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Mr. President, I so second.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion that the Senate reverse the plenary for the Senate in the committee of the whole considered the report of Professor Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, North Central, as a National Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, and approved the nomination. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee of the whole? Thank you. Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for appointment as a Commissioner representing North Central? Those in favor will say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. The nomination of Sani Mohammed Adam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is hereby confirmed as a Commissioner representing North Central in the Independent National Electoral Commission. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the consideration of the report of the Committee of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the Electoral Act number 6, 20. Distinguished colleagues, will recall that the report of the committee was laid yesterday, Wednesday, 14th July 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Kabir Ibrahim Gaya, Chairman of the Committee on INEC, to move the motion for the consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Kabir Ibrahim Gaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, I would like to move that the Senate do consider the report of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the Electoral Act number.
Distinguished Senator Siraki Dixon. You're welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Henry Siraki Dixon, representing Bayelsa West, and I rise to second this motion. I so second.
Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do consider the report of the Independent National Electoral Commission, our Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the Electoral Act number 6, 2010 Amendment Bill, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Sorry. So since we have our copies, the Senate will resolve into Committee
chamber to resolve into the committee of the whole to consider the report of the
is those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolve. Chairman, you can present the report here at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting in chair. The report of the bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act number 6, 2010 as amended and enact the Independent National Electoral Commission Bill 2021. The Senate referred the Electoral Act number 6, 2010 as amended, creating the conduct of the free, fair, and credible election. The 8th National Assembly made several attempts amending the Electoral Act number 6, 2010, but the bill was not assented by Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, poised to give Nigerians a new Electoral Act that form a legislative agenda for the 9th Senate in which contentious issues observed in 2019 general elections and previous amendment would be addressed in the new amendment. The 9th National Assembly decided to adopt all-encompassing approach in the 2021 amendment process by having the Senate and House Representative Committee or Independent National Electoral Commission and Electoral Matters to work together as a joint committee. The bill seeks to regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area council elections to make provision for the restriction and the qualification for elective officers in the relevant provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The use of card readers and other technological devices in elections, political party primaries as relates to the timeline for submission of list of candidates, criteria for substitution of candidates, limit of campaign expenses, and the bill also addressed the omission of names of candidate or logo of political party in an election as well as its reluctant consequences. They are also concerned that the electoral legal framework on certain issues be well settled ahead of the 2023 election, such as technological device like the card reader, electronic voting system, disclosure of source of funds contributed to political parties, and other issues on campaign funding. There are also provisions on guidelines on replacement of lost or destroyed permanent voters card. Seek to repeal the Electoral Act number 6, 2010 as a result of the enormous number of proposed amendments. It addresses many loopholes in the electoral system by amending over 300 clauses, which include new provisions in the whole, the amendment by the 8th National Assembly, which was not assented by Mr. President, and a draft proposal from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as well as input from the committee held a joint public hearing on 3rd 2021 December to collect and collate input from stakeholders on the bill. Written memorandum on issues of concern requesting alteration to Electoral Act 2010. A total of 68 hard and 24 soft copies of memorandum were received from the public, which was analyzed and reviewed by the committee. Submission of memorandum and oral presentation received covered these areas: use of technology in the election, electronic voting, increasing the participation of women, youth, persons, and persons of disability in the elections and electoral process, recently passed, and we thank you, Mr. President, and the members of the Senate, regulating election expenses, regulation and paying of campaign expenses, diaspora voting, early submission of lists of candidates by political parties, increasing penalties for electoral offenses, and consequences were made. There should be an amendment on Section 14 of new Section 3 to Section 44 to mandate the Commission to ensure that all contesting parties view an electronic sample of the ballot paper logo is properly represented on the ballot paper. The bill should align with either the national gender policy or campaign for 35 policies in its operation. The definition of youth in the bill shall be compatible with national youth policy and the African Charter which defines a youth as a person between age of 18 and 35. Section 56(1) of the Electoral Act makes provision for only blind and incapacitated voters. Having, however, it should encompass other forms of disability. Mr. President, the importance of diaspora voting should be looked into, as many Nigerians living outside the country are currently left out in the voting process. An autonomous electoral offences commission and tribunal will potentially address electoral frauds and violence. The Electoral Tribunal should be chaired by a person who has either held office or qualifies to hold office as a judge of superior court of record, and have 33 and 36 of the Act provide a framework that will enable a vice presidential candidate or deputy gubernatorial candidate to conclude the polls where a nominated candidate for a political party or the president or the governor of a state dies should be extended to all other elected positions. The challenges with regulating spending during campaigns generally pertain to regulations and disclosures, and not whether there is provision for a limit in the Electoral Act. Therefore, Section 9110 should be reviewed in a manner that disqualifies any candidate or his or her party for breaching the law on spending limits and increases the penalty for breach of the spending limit in a manner that enforces compliance. The penalty provided for Section 106 for media houses that contravene Section 101(5) should be increased. Section 29(4) of the Constitution should be looked into in defining full age as relates to married women. All sections and subsections which is contrary to 1999 Constitution as amended should be deleted. Issues relating to cross-carpeting among political party holders should be properly addressed, and not only for members of national and state House of Assemblies. I would like of 1999 Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, for instance, to question a diaspora voting. It is important to note that National Assembly constitutional amendment process is ongoing, and some of these items will be addressed. Mr. President, in conclusion, I wish on behalf of the distinguished members of the committee thank the President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Deputy President of the Senate, distinguished, and encourage encouragement to the committee in the important assignment for the amendment of the Electoral Act, and hope that this process will deepen our democracy through the effective use of electoral framework.
Distinguished colleagues, because I came down to the committee of the whole, I will still take comments, but we are not debating, so we don't have to go back like we are debating second reading. Distinguished Senator James Manager.
Mr. President, and respected colleagues, James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, I am aware that we are determined to pass this bill today, and I'm also in that spirit for obvious reasons. Mr. President, this document was handed over to me only this morning, and this particular document, what is contained, what the little few things that I've seen are very, very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. It's about that you take it easy when we are going through it clause by clause. Because some of the clauses that are there, most of the clauses, apart from 16 people that are privileged to serve on this committee, every other person, I will plead with you to allow us go through that particular clause so that we will have something to say, so that at the end of the day, by the time I'm leaving here, I will also own this document, so that if somebody comes for that period, that is the appeal that I'm making, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Well, thank you very much for the advice, but I want to clear the air, please. Normally, on bills that are sensitive, I go clause by clause. But in cases like this, it's clause by clause. So I want to assure you that it's going to be clause by clause, even though most of the clauses are settled. We'll start from clause 1 on page 1. And by way of guidance, what we'll be voting for is on the fourth rather. That is committee recommendation. We are voting on committee recommendation. And that's the fourth column if you look at clauses, provisions of the... So we are voting against committee recommendation. Those in favor that clause 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 2 is functions of the commission. Clause 2. Those in favor that clause 2 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3 is establishment of the Independent National Electoral Commission Fund. Any comments? Those in favor that this clause stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 4, expenditure of the commission. On page 4. Those in favor that clause 4 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 5 on page 5, annual estimates and accounts. Those in favor that annual estimates, clause 5, stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 6. Those in favor that clause 6 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 7, committees of the commission. Those in favor that the clause 7 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 8, staff of the commission. Those in favor that clause 8 stands, clause 8. Sorry? What did we pass? Which one?
I noticed that it says Federal Capital Territory, local government area, and usually we talk about the area council. So it's missing. If you check clause 6.1, there shall be established in each state of the federation and Federal Capital Territory and local government area. So we are not talking about the area council. I thought that should be. So I thought area council should be mentioned there.
Clause 8, staff of the commission. Those in favor that clause 8 stands part of the bill say aye. Those in favor that clause 9 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 10 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 11, appointment of officers. Clause 11 on page 14. Those in favor that clause 11 stands part of the bill say aye. Clause 12 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 13 on page 16. Transfer of registered laws. 14, demand for information regarding registration and issue register of voters. Those in favor that clause 15 stands. Yes, clause 15. Yes, Senator Rajidin.
Rajidin Ajibola Bashiru, Osun Central. There is a drafting. He said that cause a voter register for each state to be printed in the commission on payment of such fees as may be determined by the commission. A certified copy of any voter register for this. I think it should be area council or registration area or polling unit, because you don't have to ask for a whole registration area. So the amendment should be clearly area council or registration area or polling unit within it, or council or area unit or polling unit within it. Thank you.
I think the point is right. Or area council or registration area within it. Let's leave it like that so that we don't introduce polling units. So it's just to have separate.
The observation he raised, I think he also wants the unit included, if I'm right. No, sir. No, what he's asking for is that you should also be able to request INEC upon payment of the fees to ask for a copy of the registration, the voters register for a particular unit. No, a registration area is not a registration area is a ward. A registration area is equivalent of a ward. That is different from a polling unit. If I'm right. Yes, sir.
Chairman,
the area council covers all the station areas covers all the polling units at the ward. But if they want specific location for number of polling units, then they can say polling units. They can add that into the center. They can define that.
Thank you, Mr. President. My understanding of this incident is the polling units under a ward constitute the ward. The polling unit is not an independent, it comes under a ward or local government. The wards come under local government. So when you talk about a ward, you are already covering the polling unit under the ward.
Yeah, Mr. President, mine is different from this. I think, no, it's on the same section. To put satisfied true copy, because there's a difference between a satisfied copy and a satisfied true copy. What is here is a satisfied copy. So let us put satisfied true copy. True.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, I want to support the position that we introduce polling units. And I have my reasons, sir. When there is any voting exercise, we all go to our polling unit. We are not out of place. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't take anything away from us. Sorry, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, please, we don't have to waste so much time on this. This is not a serious matter. We add the polling units, please. We vote on the polling units. Take note, those in favor that clause 15 as amended by the DSP, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 16. Clause 16 on page 19. Those in favor that clause 16 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, okay, amendment. Relu? Oh, okay, you are seconding. Okay, Senator Smart, my former comrade.
Mr. President, I just hold this view that one of the common and greatest offenses in election malpractices is the issue of people having more than one voter's card. Now, if you look at the clause subsection, it says 16.3, Mr. President. Any person who contravenes subsection 2 commit an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not more than 100,000. I don't hold the view that 500. It should be around 500,000 to 1 million naira, because that's not my conclusion.
Thank you very much, distinguished chair. You have the same one. I am not in agreement with that proposal. I believe very strongly that. Yes. All right.
Mr. President, I rise to second.
500,000. Okay, I will have to put that into vote first. And then, Senator Adamu, if you disagree with that, that clause 16 as amended, and the amendment is instead of 100,000 naira is now 500,000 as penalty. That it stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Adamu, you want to propose an amendment?
I was under the impression
that given the economic situation and the level at which we are talking, the ordinary voter of this cannot afford anything more than 100,000. You are not a Democrat. A true Democrat. A true 500,000 is too much. It's too much. I mean, we retain the 100,000. We retain the 100,000.
Distinguished colleagues, yes, 500,000 should be. It means the masses are improving. Clause 17. Custody of voters register. Those who vote at clause 17 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Amendment, Senator Ibrahim Lurogbe.
Sorry, distinguished, Mr. Chairman, just to add area council. We have area council INEC office. Remind us something.
Okay. Can we now say, like the minority leader said, mutatis mutandis, wherever there is area council? Okay. So those in favor that clause 17 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against any the ayes. Clause 18, power to issue duplicate voters cards. Those in favor that clause 18 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We are on clause 19 on page 22. Distinguished Senator James Manager, I hope we are okay. Okay. Display of the copies of the voters list. Those in favor that clause 19 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 20 on page 24 deleted. Those in favor that clause 20 as recommended by the committee stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 21 revision officer for hearing of claims etc. Those in favor that clause 21 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against the bill say aye. Those against any the ayes have it. Clause 23. Those in favor at clause 23, yes, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja.
The deletion is in respect of attempting to sell or attempting to buy voters' card, which is very, very common in most areas. So I don't understand why it should be deleted. If anything, I think actually the other one that says if you attempt to sell or you attempt to buy, I think that should be retained, Your Excellency. We have had instances where one person will be going around with 200-300 voters attempting to sell it to people.
To sell it.
So I don't think deleting this is good for us.
B and C should be retained.
Yes. I think B and C should be retained. We can remove one that just says possession is an offense. But certainly B and C should be retained. Thank you, Mr. President.
Which are you talking about clause 23?
They deleted the whole section. But I think we should just remove clause A, which makes it an offense to possess somebody else's voter's card. But for attempting to sell or attempting to...
Senator Betty Jocelyn Apiafi.
Mr. President, sitting as the chair, Betty Apiafi, representing Rivers West. Mr. President, I support because vote buying is an offense, and it should, anybody who is caught buying it, and for every voter card you buy, you pay 500,000 as penalty.
Deleted and the rest remain. This is against the recommendation of the committee. So those in favor of this amendment that clause 23 stands part of the bill as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 24. Offenses relating to registration of voters. Those in favor that clause 24 stands part of the bill say aye.
The House maintained it.
They deleted it. Which one is that? They deleted it. Buying and selling.
Yes. Section 23, sir. Which
So
we
they are
just
claiming
passed.
this 161.
I just want to
I didn't know where that one.
notify the Senate
No, conference, you can play it.
that the House
Of course,
deleted this portion, and we're trying now to instate it. That means we may have to go for conference. But when we had the committee meeting with
Chairman, my take will be that at this point, this is not a harmonized conference committee report. If we notice anything that is not right, at this point we should correct it. And I believe that the point raised by Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja is very, very valid. So we can risk wasting of time. It's better we get it right. This, the ruling remains only 20. Yes, Senator Smart Ademi.
Well, Mr. President, the amendment and observation I want to make is on, I'm talking in relation to section 24 and all other sections that has to do with where it's we're on 24 now. Yes. We're on 24 now, Mr. President. Now, if you look at we're on 24, 25. Mr. President, what I just want to say is that the amendment is in relation to all these fines that we have. If we really want people to be afraid to commit electoral offenses, Mr. President, we should make the minimum fines in all offenses committed to be 500,000 naira. Because, Mr. President, the poor people who are used, they don't have the money. It's the rich who use the poor people to rig elections. That's my submission, Mr. President.
The amendment. Otherwise, we can't finish this. Yes. So we are on page 28, clause 25. Clause 25. Oh, we have not voted on 24? Senator Ajibola. I recall. We are clause 26. Conduct and postponement of election in emergency. Those in favor that clause 26 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 27 on page 31. Announcement of election results. Clause 28. I didn't even put the question. You are voting already. Clause 28. Those in favor that clause 28 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 29 on page 34. Appointment of other officers for the conduct of registration of voters and elections. Those in favor that clause 29 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 30, notice of election. Those in favor that clause 30 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 31 on page 37. Amendment. Distinguished Senator Jeshambasi.
For candidates to submit names to the to INEC. Are we on section? Oh, so submission of list of candidates and their affidavits by political parties. So one, yes, from 180 days back to 60 days. Somebody second me now.
Those in favor that clause 31 stands part of the bill say aye. Amendment DSP.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, 31-2. Yes, because this for, if I may read, sir, that the list or information submitted by each candidate shall be accompanied by an affidavit sworn to by the candidate at the Federal High Court, indicating that he or she has fulfilled all the constitutional requirements for election into the office. Mr. President, I am aware that this proposal of this affidavit, the House also wants any of the courts to take an affidavit, as opposed to, yes, as an affidavit, as opposed to restricting people to go to only the Federal High Court to swear an affidavit for their forms. So I want to amend that we include the Federal High Court an affidavit to accompany the forms to be submitted to INEC. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I second that the amendment as proposed be taken. I second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that clause 31 as amended stands Parliament already, then we can go for his amendment. Yes. That other courts, which the DSP mentioned, for the affidavit, that is not restricted. Okay, so those in favor that clause 31 as amended stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Said Al-Ghali.
Mr. Chairman, clause 31. Every political party shall not later than 180 days before the date appointed for a general election under this bill. Mr. President, I think we need to amend.
You need to take cognizance of that.
Yeah. I'm amending it from 180 days to 120, sir. Yes, sir. Second day.
So, thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, there is an amendment again on clause 31. This time, clause 31(1). And the amendment is, instead of not later than 180 days, Senator Said Al-Ghali is in favor that clause 31 as amended stands part of the bill. Say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Distinguished colleagues, Ali Sabi Abdullahi, I want us to remember that the subsisting constitutional provision for pre-election matters is relevant, and many people suffered from the fact that in filing their pre-election cases, it became time-barred. So the point is, we need to allow this sufficient time. Otherwise, if we do it this way, it means. So this is the point. This is why this date is not allowed.
The second amendment that we return one. This is a very straightforward amendment. There was an appeal, is too short. We will now vote. Let me explain, please. Generally, so if and I say the ruling was the 120 got it. Now to retain this, yes, I'll put the question. Senator Said Al-Ghali.
Sir, the recommendation was 180. It's on the same issue.
To ask for an amendment, but I believe that it's their right to seek for a further amendment. So I will put the question, and the question before I put the question presently is 120. Yes, presently is 120 because that's what has been ruled, that it is 120 now. But some people feel no, it should be 180. So you vote against Yes. Those against say nay? No, certainly the ayes have it. So we have retained the two. Prohibition of double nomination. Those in favor that stands part of the bill say aye. Those of the bill say aye. Those against in favor that clause 35 stands part. Clause 37, invalidity of multiple nomination. Those in favor that clause 37 stands part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Clause 40. Those in favor that clause 40 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 41 on page 46. Uncontested election. Those who are at clause 4 the bill say aye. Those against say nay.
Thank you, Mr. President. In this clause, I think mention is made of ballot boxes. Suitable boxes or any other society of originals. So I think, Mr. President, if we want to make it's clause 43, device for the conduct of elections. In clause 2, it says the forms. It now doesn't mention devices, forms. So what I want is that anywhere since we mention the forms or devices, it should also be forms or devices in all the other parts.
Mr. President, sitting as the chair, Betty Apiafi, Rivers West Senatorial District. Mr. President, I support the...
Those in favor that clause 43 as amended remains part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yeah, further amendment, Senator Basiru Ajibola.
Of 43 at the elections. In that subsection, it appears to limit it to just materials that have been done. So I'm suggesting that may observe a part of what a polling agent.
His observation there's already and his raw materials, and this may be recorded as evidence. It's all taken care of. I don't know what he wants again. It's all taken care of.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In terms of all other materials.
Amendment being sought by, so it means we have to vote on his amendment.
I am Senator I.D. Gian of Plan 5. Mentioned by election observers to include.
Okay. I gave them the opportunity to say they need to understand what the amendment is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the amendment. When you look at the original proposal, the amendment will be that a polling agent at a polling unit may observe originals of the electoral materials, identification, the meat of whether you can veracity of those that accreditation lawyer, that accreditation process, if it's not allowed to be properly verified, is liable to be the root of the election. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Distinguished colleagues, please let's be fair to ourselves. We shouldn't go into it. Amended by Senator Savit. Those in favor that clause 4 to 4 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We are on page 50. Page 50, clause 45. Polling agents. Clause 45 stands part of the bill say aye.
Is to introduce a provision. Clause 45 subsection 1. That political parties should submit details, photographs, because if the information is until after the election.
Chairman, I second the...
Distinguished colleagues, by Senator Ajibola, that it remains part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Clause 46. Those involved at clause 46 stands part of the bill say aye. That clause 47 stands part of the bill. 9 on page 53. Those involved at clause 49 stands part of the bill says 50.
I propose that clause 5 of the person to vote. Yeah, yes, I want to say. I'm not going to say. Please, you are not the chairman, Senator. May challenge the right of a person to vote at a polling unit on the ground that the person It's not.
You say in accordance with such procedures as are provided for in this bill. So it means there's a provision. Okay, I'll put the question.
Why? I rise to second the amendment heavily moved by Senator Ajibola. I saw
the Songwe Senator Utazi will listen to our lawyers, but not all of us here who are not lawyers don't understand the logic sometimes. So those in favor on page 57 that clause 50 as amended stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. As amended stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 51. Those who that amendment, Senator Sabi Ali Abdullahi, Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I'm Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, Niger North. 2. May consider adjudged to be adequate by the National Assembly. This is my amendment.
Distinguished colleagues, please, we should be fair to our colleagues. Amendment, you vote against it, that's all. But not to boo or jeer someone. It's not right. Please. So you say it again, please. Well, let's listen.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for is adjudged.
I need a seconder. The minority leader. Why did you raise your hand? Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume.
Mr. Chairman, let us distinguish
distinguished colleagues, by the grace of God and your endorsement, I hold the gavel. So it's the chair that is supposed to.
Before I second, I want this National Assembly to know I support the futuristic idea of electronic voting, which is not realistic in my area that I represent. And therefore, for it to be up, then I support that. I shall support.
You know, and this amendment has to be voted on. The point is in favor that clauses that they stand part of the bill. Sorry? No. Then in that case, I will put the question on 3. Those against say nay. As for amendment.
Mr. President,
Senator Albert Bassi, you say
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Further amendment that the commission may transmit the receipt cable.
Mr. President, I second it. But let me make this point, please. Do I have your protection, sir? Mr. President, reading through this act, you can see that a lot of our fears have been taken care of. So please let us, yes.
Amendment.
distinguished colleagues, the minority, excuse me, listen. Those, when I see your hand, I will call you. Conduct ourselves. Distinguished colleagues, go on. Please, his hand, say, I will not act. The point, what is there? Distinguished colleagues, are against. Comment what we have passed, what we have voted for, and is included in this report now is the amendment sought by Senator Sabi Abdullahi. You think we should recommend of Senator Sabi? Please, for the avoidance of doubt, for the options by electronic, those in favor, see Akpan. Point of order. Go and tell them. Those in favor that we extend time. Distinguished colleagues, Distinguished colleagues, issues
to continue its consideration.
The committee of the whole to resume
minority
consideration of the report at the point at which we stopped.
that those in favor of the motion
52.3, that's what we are, and I raised a point for amendment 52.2.
Mr. President, the opinion of the President of ruling on the
the single Senator Samegu, you have listened to what the leader of the minority said. You want to move an amendment. He is saying he wants division. So I will, but my hands are tied. Another rigorous process. Once we do division, there will be no amendment. Is that clear? Minority leader, you still insist?
we want Nigerians to know who has voted or not.
The ruling I gave on the amendment sought by Senator Abasi, those who voted, Senate leader.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, responsibility which you have given me, Mr. All of us, we are statesmen. It will not show well or bear well. Mr. President, remember that first the minority leader to please, in the name of God, withdraw this thing
of order before divided the vote, so that no one whenever a matter of privilege arises, it shall be taken up immediately. It's important that Nigerians know that all of us on both sides of the aisle, so that Nigerians Mr. President, is with respect shall be able. Mr. President, I am a member of the Senate Committee on Communication. Just like the special and record to Mr. President, no one here, either in the leadership or membership of this Senate, is up, and is inconsistent with the cultural process. What we are clear, what we are.
Just listen, please. Senator Opeyemi.
President, I'm on ground.
We are going into division.
To give information. 73-3. You see, we have the opportunity of voting again. If after voting, a majority that still say no, it does not agree with the voting, that's not the way. Let me read it.
We have appealed to our colleagues on this. We have no alternative but to go into division. But before we do that, not here, will be part of the issue today is no conductivity. Division is about either distinguished senators are saying, yes, we agreed. Oh, please. With these comments, I will invite the clerk of the Senate and his team will stand on this side. So if you are on this, so clerk, distinguished colleagues, please sit down, please. Distinguished colleagues, there is a list here. There is a list here. There is a list here, a list of all of us. Our names are here, state by state. And it starts with Abia and ends. And then you say, you vote this way. It's saying what is in the report. But excuse me, please. No, just hold on. Parents are interested in this, so they need to understand. At the moment, was upheld. 16. So if you want what Senator Sabi has done, has amended, you vote yes. No, you vote no, sorry. Sorry. Excuse me, please. You vote. No, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. So please, if you want what Senator Sabi amended, you stick with it because that is what is existing now, and vote no. You vote no because we are voting on the proposal by Senator Albert Bassi.
Thank you, Mr. President, and distinguished on Order 72, in which the minority leader raised and demanded or requested for voice vote. We have three options, and the second option is what we are adopting. And that second option is of APC here. If any APC...
Because the minority leader has demanded for a division. And tell us where you are. When you stand up, because you need to be seen so that nobody later goes to complain. So if they call your name, you stand up and say you vote yes. But no service motion. It's actually that said he didn't like the ruling. So the ruling is under question mark. Is that clear?
Hemoplay.
Every member of this Senate believes in electronic voting. It's either you are not. I vote because there are no coverage in my village. There is no coverage in my village. Senator Barriga knows that there is no coverage where we come from. I don't want anybody to make a political point where we come from. There is no coverage, as such I vote no. Leader of the Senate, and I vote yes to Nigeria, yes to electronic voting.
I just want to, or you say I vote no.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my distinguished colleagues. Aisha Tidair Ahmed Binani, representing Adama Central. Yes.
Order. Senator Akpan Albert Bassi
Akpan, I represent the good people in this report. Yes.
Senator, blow your head. Thank you. Yes, for amendment by Senator Akon. Full electronic voting.
Senator Ekunipe. No, we'll come back. We'll come back. Okay, Senator.
Okay. Mr. President, in this...
Please. No, please. Listen, please. Let's be guided. This voting has started and it will go to the end. Listen, please.
Senator Odwa Stella Odezi. Senator Uba Ifeanyi Patrick. Senator Uba Ifeanyi Patrick. Senator Jika Dauda Halliru.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to...
Senator Bulkatsua Adamu Mohammed. Senator Bulkatsua Adamu Mohammed. Senator Cleophas Moses Woge. Senator Cleophas...
Mr. President, I'm here. Okay. Of Bayelsa Central Senatorial District, I rise to vote yes for electronic transmission of our results.
Yes.
Yes.
His microphone.
Senators and distinguished colleagues, I rise to oppose the motion proposed by Senator Albert Bassi.
I represent Bayelsa at the committee's report. Thank you.
Senator Gabriel Suswan. Senator Olka Jeb Emmanuel Yisa. Senator Moro Abba Patrick. Senator Moro Abba Patrick.
Central, and I am voting no to the amendment as proposed by Senator from Kakwa Ibom. Thank you.
Senator Kari Abubakar Shaib.
For against the...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my distinguished colleagues, Mohammed Ali Ndube. I categorically vote no against
of the vote. I therefore...
Senator Ode Stephen Adi.
Mr. President, I represent
Senator Bassi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Gershon Bassi, representing the people of Cross River South Senatorial District. I vote in support of the motion.
Ovi Augustine.
Mr. President, guided by the official position of NCC to the effect that coverage... Hey! I have the floor. Mr. President. Guided by the official position of NCC to the effect that coverage is only 43% in this country. I hereby
Senator Mwabosh.
My names are
Senator James, Manager James.
Yes.
Mr. President, Obinawa Ebony Central, I say...
Now what is here? Distinguished colleagues, order please, order please. You know, conformity with the amendment.
Senator Nachi Michael Ama. Senator Nachi Michael.
Okay. From Ebonyi State.
Senator Odia A. Okay. Senator Orogide Matthew A.
Thank you very much. For electronic transmission of results as contained in this bill.
Senator Bamidele M. Okwemi.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I'm Michael Okwemi Bamidele. I represent the Ekiti Central Senatorial District. Transmission of results.
Senator Adetumbi Olubumi Ayodeji. Senator Olujimi Building Christian.
I stand on the side of the people.
Senator Chin Inamani.
I know you want me to be absent, but the good people of stand for practicable, not subjecting INEC to any other authority, because we don't want two arbiters.
I stand to against the amendment.
Senator Alkali.
Senator Amos Bulus.
Of Gombe South, I said capital no to the amendment proposed by Senator Bassi.
I believe in credible election. Mr. President, Senator Chukuma Frank Ibezim, representing the good people of Imo North by
Senator Hadeja Hassan Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, representing Jigawa Northeast, a zone that has one of the worst. Very much.
Senator Sankara Dalladi Abdullahi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Colleagues, I remain with colleagues. I am Suleiman Abdukwari. I rise to vote no to Albert's
voting.
Senator Shekarau Ibrahim Jibril. Senator Gaya Kabiru Ibrahim.
Due to the fact that I do not have coverage in some of my constituencies, I vote no against Albert.
Engineer Kabir Barkia.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name's Ahmed Baketa. I represent Katsina North. To avoid confusion and to make sure that we have free and fair election in this country, I am voting Bello.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Bello Mandia. I represent Kaduna South. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues. I remain Muhammad Adamu Aliru, representing Kebbi Central. Because I believe Nigeria.
Senator Abdullah, Senator Naala Bala Ibn,
distinguished colleagues.
Senator Isa Jibril.
Other side of the.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Isa Jibril. This implementation has always been a problem, the whole process. It is.
Senator Smart Ademi.
Mr. President, I rise on behalf of the headed by Sabi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, while voting no to Albert Amendment.
INEC to do the best job for Nigeria.
Senator Abiru.
Adiola no to any amendment.
Senator, I represent National South. I oppose the amendment by
I insist you listen. I insist you listen. Distinguished Chair, I am Senator in view of my very. That means that Nigeria is not covered for electronic transmissions.
Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my distinguished colleagues, for the interest of this country and the stability, my colleague on the other side.
Senator Abdullahi Aliu Sabi.
Abdullahi, I represent Niger. No to the proposal by Albert Bassi.
Senator Bima Mohammed Inagi.
I represent the people of Niger South from Niger.
Senator Amosun Ibekule Oyelaja. Senator Amosun Ibekule Oyelaja. Senator Mustapha Olelekan Remoni. Senator Mustapha Olelekan. Senator Odibie Tolulupe Akiremi. Senator Odevi Tolulupe Oderimi Akiremi. Senator Odevi Tolulupe Akiremi.
It's not Ocean here.
Senator Akilere Patrick Ayo.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name remains Senator Joaquin Ray.
Boniface Robert Ajayi.
Superior argument advanced.
Senator Tofuomo Nicholas. Senator
Dr. Surajuddin, in the evil of unfettered discretion, I said no to the suggestion from that side. Thank you.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Senator Adenigba Fadams, OFR, representing the educated and good people of transmission of election results, as recommended in the report. Thank you.
Senator Oriolo Adeleri Adeyemi.
Yeah. Having witnessed the network, I just gave them.
Lawley.
Chairman, my name is
Senator Dimka Ezekiel Ayuba.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Ezekiel Dimka, representing Plateau Central.
Mr. President, yes, in favor.
Colleagues are not connected, who are not connected, and they deserve it. So we should take care of them, and for their interest, I am voting no.
Senator Sakivo George Thompson.
I represent the River System. Was brought in by the chairman, Kabiru Ibrahim Gaya, and 16 others.
Please, just vote. Leave.
I have the floor. I have the floor. It's brought for us. So, result. Yes.
In support, I vote yes for electronic transfer of vote.
Then sitting as the chair, my name is dependence of INEC and not subject.
Mr. President, this is referred by service.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How I vote 8% coverage. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Albert.
Senator Isa Shuaibullah.
Isa Shuaibullah, representing.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise. My name is Ibrahim Mohammed Bomai, representing Yobe's House. I rise to by Albert.
No, Albert.
To Sabo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say no to the amendment sought by
Senator to vote no on telecommunication infrastructure as amended by Albert, because the current
Senator
Mohammed from Jigawa. I vote no.
Is that
Albert, please remain there, man.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, this is the result of the votes so far in the elections we just had. Total, we have 28. Is 80. So the Senate President did not vote in this respect. The nays have it.
Distinguished colleagues, just to reiterate what the clerk said. We are 109, but I only cast my vote when there is a tie. And apparently there is no tie. 28 an amendment. 28 of our colleagues, senators, are absent in 80. And that is 28 plus 52. This now settles the issue of 52-3. That this amendment, and I will suggest I will put the question on 52, 4 and 5. Those in favor that clause 53 stands for.
If you read clause 2 in 53 and clause 3, any polling unit exceeds the number where the result of an election is taking place in the affected polling, that people will start looking for overvoting so that they can cancel and come back to do a re-election. There is a need to expand.
Any seconder to this amendment? Amendment as proposed.
Okay.
Clause 54. Those in favor that clause 55 stands for. Those in favor that clause 57 stands for. Those against any the ayes. Clause 59 on page 62. Those in favor that clause 59 stands for. The bill say aye.
In the draft, I don't.
The 61 should be 60.
Yes, sir.
Sir, if you look at clause 60, clause 60 is deleted. 2, I think clause 67, a major reference is made to it.
Well, I think when clause 60, Chairman.
Those that we
clause 61 or clause 60.
Mr. Chairman.
No, please, no. Haba. We even went into division, then you say we go back. No. So we go to clause 60. Those in favor that clause 60 stands part of the bill as recommended by the committee, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 61. Those in favor that clause 61 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. Aye. Yes, amendments.
6. The amendment is in relation to the penalty, the punishment. I think 100,000, Mr. President, is still too small.
Stephen Adiodi.
Mr. President, thank you. I rise. My name is Senator Stephen Adiodi. I represent Cross River North. I rise to support the
Clause 64. Those in favor that clause 66 stands in the keyboard.
To section 64. The reference to the appropriate section.
Okay. 67-4.
Take note, please. Secretary, take note. 9. Those in favor that clause 6, those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 72, 73, 74, and 75. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 76, 7 say aye. Those against say nay.
A presiding officer or a million. A million.
I think because he's a presiding officer, he's a big man. So 1 million is good. So that that clause in favor that clauses 8 to 8. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say parties. Those in favor that clause ayes have it. Senator James Manager.
Here is 5 delegates per ward.
And 50 per local
and 50 per local government. It's unwieldy.
Yeah, can
7. As amended. So you can vote against it if you don't want the amendment. Those in favor, and you can say no if.
Mr. President, there are in the local government. What is recommended local government? It will be on.
We have a lot to do. So those in favor that clause 87 as amended by Senator James Manager and seconded, the next have it. Clause 88. Clause 88. Clause 88 is on page 141. Clause 88 on page 141. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 90 on page 140 of election expenses. Clause 91. Those who are at clause 91 stands part of the bill says 92 stands part of. Those who are at clause 90. Those against say nay. Those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 101 on page 160. Stand part of the bill say aye. Those in favor at clause 107 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 108, 109, and 110. Those in favor at those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 112 on page 175. Those in favor at clause 112 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 113, 114, 115. The ayes have it. Clause 118, clause 119. Those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. And 130. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 136 on page 217. 137, 138, 139. Those in favor that clause 141, clause 142, 143, 144, 144, 148. What will say aye? Those against say interpretation. Those in favor say aye. The schedules, what will say aye? Those against say nay.
That we have just made the last amendment, right? But the punishment that we make a minimum myself, you know. So.
And we later discover that the Mr. President reversed plenary for the chair. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the committee of the whole considered the report of the committee on clauses 15 and 16 as amended, clause 17 to 22 as recommended, clauses 44 to 49 as recommended, clause 50 as amended, clause 51 as recommended, clause 54 to 75 as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the committee?
You read the third time.
Second, the motion that this time, say aye.
6/2010, and for
Act to amend the Electoral Act number 6 for this devotion. We had to go through those who voted for amendments and those who voted against. Each one of us did so out of conviction for what we believed by the Senate. Even if it is a single, they would have passed in the House. That what the Senate bosses, that is all inclusive, that is fair, that is equitable and just to everyone, whether someone is in the city or INEC at all times. And we pray that this bill will guide the 2023 general elections. So to also congratulate all of us here for staying this long, but I will also appeal that we have to stay a little bit, the amendment to the Electoral Act to be recorded properly for onward trans. It is important we come back. Single Senate President Confirmation Commission Act 2014, usual expeditious manner. Please accept, Mr. President, dear the Single Senate 154 subsection 1 of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission. Sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari. The votes and proceedings.